Welcome to the Business of Cleaning. My name is Haley Morris, and I'm your podcast coordinator and host. Our show is about bringing together the advice of experts from all the way across the cleaning industry. And for season 2 in particular, we're going to delve into how to utilize important connections to both elevate your business and your career. If that's of interest to you, just keep listening. Hello, everyone. My name is Haley Morris with the Business of Cleaning. Welcome back for our second season. We're excited to jump into the idea of continuous connections within the cleaning industry. And with me today, I have Todd Hopkins, and we're going to be discussing office pride and exactly what you need to know about office pride and why. So Todd, if you don't mind introducing yourself a bit more for us.
Absolutely. My name is Todd Hopkins. I started Office Pride Commercial Cleaning Services in 1992. I was like 10 years old, maybe. But anyway, 1992, it was a result of a college research paper that I did at Butler University as part of my MBA. So it was like a research paper turned into a real life business, started from scratch. And this was in Indianapolis. Now we're in Palm Harbor, Florida, a suburb of Tampa, is where our corporate headquarters is at. But so we're a franchising model. So we chose to grow our brand through local, independently owned and operated franchisees. So we have 135 franchises around the country in 25 states, and we're just all about branding and systems and support. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming on. I'm super excited to have you, and I'm super excited to dive into more about what Office Pride is, because working with Business of Cleaning and working with Janitorial Manager, I hear about you all of the time.
Yeah.
And so super exciting episode. Can I ask what the paper was that kind of got this all started? What was that about?
Well, so I had 3 credit hours left in this MBA program, and I'm looking through and to go back the previous semester, we actually had a visiting professor from Harvard, and he taught an entrepreneurship class. And in that class, I had created this business. We each had to create a business. And there was a lady in there who had a janitorial service she had started, and it was failing. And it was kind of going out of business. But as she was in my small group and I was hearing about it, I'm thinking, this is something I believe if it's done right, could scale. And I started to do research on it. So I applied to let this independent research study credit opportunity, 3 hours, be given to me to do independent research in the commercial cleaning industry on how to franchise and scale in the commercial cleaning industry. And that was my paper. And so as a student, I went and interviewed the guy that owned the company that was cleaning the Sears Tower. I went over to Cincinnati and interviewed a gentleman over there who had a successful cleaning business, and just started doing the research, basically asking all of them the same question. If knowing what you know now, if you could start over and create the best possible commercial cleaning business, how would you do it? And I created a research paper, got an A on it, by the way, got my 3 credit hours and graduated, and then put it into practice. So that's a little more to the story. But was out there cleaning those first buildings myself, selling, watching VHS tapes, trying to learn how to strip and wax a tile floor. We didn't have things like Janitorial Manager back then. You had to kind of figure some things out the hard way. But that's the power of franchising. We've got those systems in place now, and others get a big head start.
Wow. It's incredible to think I just came out of my bachelor's program. So imagining one project or one semester long, I guess it's a little bit longer than a project, turning into something that, has evolved so far and become such a big, important part of the industry it's mind blowing, to say the least.
Yeah. God's blessed us. I mean, and it's been a lot of fun. Especially this year, with COVID and all these things that have been going on, we're part of the solution. And, it's good to be out there making a difference.
So as far as what does it mean when somebody decides to partner with Office Pride, decides to partner with a franchise company then?
Well, a lot of people, they still own their own business. So they're 100% owner of their own business. They typically form a corporate entity. They're wanting to build a business that can provide for their family or just give them the independence they want. Everybody, they all have different goals that they're trying to accomplish. And then somewhere along the way, they make a decision. Am I going to do this on my own and create it as I go? Or am I going to align myself with a franchise system that has already been there and done that and can help me get where I want to go quicker? And so when they purchase a franchise rights, they're basically getting licensing rights to grow their business using our brand and our system. They get to share in that Office Pride brand equity from day one. So what they get is they're immediately getting access to coaching, training from people who've done what they want to do. They've got the brand, we got the purchasing power, we have vendor relationships, which JM, of course, is one of them. And so all the systems are in place to help them get where they want to go quicker. And it's a big deal because I think a lot of people, when they look at a franchise, they think, well, could I do this on my own? Well, maybe you could, but if it took a lot longer, if it took 5 or 10 years, I mean, we see that a lot of times with our franchisees, the speed at which they grow. What's the opportunity cost of time? And the opportunity cost of time is usually a whole lot less than a franchise fee or say a royalty, which would be our share. And so we have people that are like-minded, they join us. We all set out to win together and everybody wins. That's the goal.
I can't imagine, starting, especially right now, starting a cleaning company and just being like, I'm going to completely do it all myself. And I mean, there are people who do it amazingly, but this is something I would say that is hugely beneficial to kind of give you that leg up. And also kind of like you said, before when you started, there wasn't all of this, resources and knowledge that was easily accessible to pull from. And so just making it that much more accessible, it sounds like, is a huge factor before you even get to the branding and things like that too.
Well, and it's not just teaching folks what to do, but it's what not to do. It's the things that these folks that start business shouldn't do that gets them in trouble or cause them potentially to lose the whole business. So, I found it's a lot easier to learn from somebody else's mistakes. I'd rather do that. And that's what somebody coming into a franchise system, you get to learn from accumulation of learning, accumulation of mistakes. That's the value of a mistake, is to learn from it. But then learning from the things that others have done right and then build upon the brand equity. So a lot of times we'll go into a brand new market with the Office Pride brand and we're like a breath of fresh air. And the customers are excited to see us. And, we're excited to be there.
That's awesome. I'm really excited to see that, to knowing where you started, how much you've grown, how big you've gotten, and how much you've been able to accomplish. So I guess when it comes to somebody who's decided, okay, I think working with a franchise company would be the best bet, what are some of those things that they should look for to make sure that they're establishing a partnership that is worth their time?
Yeah, so we always, there's a process we would walk somebody through who's interested in a franchise. And there's calls that happen. And of course, now a lot of things happen over Zoom. But it was happening that way even before a lot of the initial calls. And then franchisees will come in for a discovery day where they get to learn about us, everything that any questions they have about us, they can ask. They get to we show them some of our operations. We let them look under the hood to see that we're the real thing. And we get to ask them questions about themselves, because we want to make sure we're bringing on people who are business builders and who are going to help grow our brand and not damage it. So this is a discovery day where we learn about each other. And then from there, they also are talking to other franchisees. So we're doing mutual validation. We're checking them out and they're checking us out. So I think anytime you talk about the word, we're really, by legal definition, not partners, but, partnering or sharing common goals and all those things. Or, it's kind of like a marriage. You want to do all your dating get to know each other really well before you make that decision, because it's a big commitment moving forward, and we take it very seriously. And our existing franchisees expect us to take it seriously before we let somebody else in the system. So there's a lot that goes into it, but we also amazingly have a lot come in, and they can go through that process pretty quickly because the trust level's very high. They know somebody who already is Office Pride franchise, so the validation has already been there. So sometimes that process can happen in just a couple of months.
It is very much a relationship building experience. It's not just a sign up and walk away type thing. You have to establish that relationship. You have to work at that relationship and continue to respect it. So,
yeah. And when they sign up, for a lot of companies, a lot of deals, a lot of times when somebody signs, that's kind of the ending. You've been working up to that point. For us, it's just the beginning because of the level of training. And JM is very familiar. They've been able to get in there and attend our franchise retreats, and so they know the extent of the extent of our training, what we do for our franchisees, not just in the first year, but every year thereafter. There's so much available.
it has been one of the things I know I've heard about how much you guys do as far as it's not that check off, sign off, whatever, and done. It is something that people who work with you, those franchisees, take huge pride in, which is exciting to see.
Yeah. Well, we like using that word pride. So it stands for personal responsibility and daily effort. And so going back to the very beginning, I used to say, hey, that's something we commit to our customers, we would expect from the employees. We've taught it to the franchisees over the years. Now they expect personal responsibility and daily effort from their employees. So yeah, it's a win-win. And the continuing education is awesome. I mean, we always want to be learning. We like to develop good habits. We think success comes from choices and habits. And so we want to teach franchisees how to make good decisions as they grow this business, and also how to develop good habits. And we've had great speakers. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, with running a business, being in a business and doing these types of things, continuous education is part of it, or you don't succeed. You don't reach that next level at all. So
Yeah. We had Stephen M.R. Covey speak at our last franchise retreat. I was taking tons of notes, as were the franchisees, because right now trust is everything. And to have a 28-year history behind our brand, and customers are depending on cleaning companies now to deliver disinfecting services and all that, to be able to go in and share our history, to communicate who we are, to build trust is everything. Right now, our customers are trusting us to do the right things. So we had him come in and speak this year, Marilyn Sherman, on just how to make a difference, take a front row seat in business and in life. And right now, we've been on the front row with all the COVID. I mean, as soon as something happens, a customer calls us and our franchisee goes in and they take care of things. So yeah, we value it. This year, we have Larry Lenny, who's going to be coming in and speaking, who's a very top thought leader when it comes to strategic planning and execution. So I think he'll do a great job of helping our franchisees get to the next level.
that's incredible. How many franchisees do you have then?
Well, we have 135. We have 3 new ones that are starting as we're speaking. So say that will put us at 138. So yeah, we're very excited.
That's incredible. I was wondering, just because you have grown so much, and we were talking about the name as well. So I was going to ask you how you came up with the name Office Pride and where that originated as well.
Oh man. So here it is. I'll tell you. So I'm at the University of Memphis, where I did my undergraduate. I was in a college fraternity, and we didn't have, a lot of fraternities, you hear about them, they kind of get in trouble for hazing or something like that. We didn't have that. So we treated everybody as equals. And so when we had a big cleanup day, we wouldn't make all the pledges or whatever, do all the cleanup. Everybody pitched in together, and there would be a big sign in the lobby that said, this Saturday is House Pride Day. We're going to take pride in our house, everybody comes over and pitches in and cleans it together. And so as I'm thinking, this is it, I'm just telling you, this is how it happened. So I'm trying to come up with a name. And I had two front runners, but one of them was Office Pride, because I thought this would be cool. I'm used to House Pride, and it would just call it Office Pride, and just take pride in, you know, doing things the right way. And then over time that developed, you know, and I had the personal responsibility and daily effort and all that. But that's where it came from, just a spinoff of what we used to do back in the old fraternity days, usually a Saturday after a Friday night party.
Wow. No, that's kind of cool. I was in an academic fraternity, so we had where we had different families, and when we had any kind of gathering, we were an academic one, so we didn't say party, we saw like gathering or social or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
We'd have assigned DDs, assigned sober brothers, and a cleanup crew. And then if we had any kind of cookouts and stuff, there were food sign-ups. So whatever family was hosting would make sure that they got the people lined up to make sure that everybody was taken care of from beginning to end. So it's not quite the same, but it reminds me of that feeling of taking care of our people, sort of thing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, that's where I got, you know, everything has a story, and it's amazing. Sometimes somebody will ask me a question and I'll think of a story that I hadn't told in 20 years. But yep, that's where the name came from.
Well, thank you. Now, when I saw it, I thought it's kind of iconic. It kind of sticks out. And I was very curious, and I'm sure our listeners would be very curious too. So thanks for sharing that, though.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah.
Now, did you imagine back in your fraternity days that you would be where you are now with, you know, an organization like Office Pride?
Well, I've always been an entrepreneur. I mean, I had a business in the second grade, and, you know, I had all these kid businesses growing up. So yeah, I always thought I would be in some sort of a business, an entrepreneur, that I'd have multiple locations. I always thought maybe it might be like sporting goods, but I thought, well, there's big companies that could put you out of business if they chose to. So, but I like the idea of creating a service business. And if we do this with excellence, then big companies can't come in, because our customers value a job well done. They value higher quality service and a personal relationship with the owner of that business, which is what our system, our model gives them. So I feel good about it, but I kind of always envisioned it would be something like it is now. God's really blessed us. We have wonderful franchisees. Our franchisees are bigger, have less franchisees, but they're much bigger than I had planned in my original business plan, because 2010, we kind of shifted to a business builder model, and we chose to help the franchisees we have get bigger and to recruit business builders. And that was a good decision for us. So we don't have thousands and thousands of franchisees. We have 138, and they're happy and they're growing, and it's one big happy family right now.
No, that sounds a lot better than having, you know, like we talked about before, it is kind of a relationship, a partnership. So instead of having thousands where you kind of loosely connected, now you have these stronger relationships that you can nurture better. So
Yeah. I mean, and just you know, you can get a text message and just see how somebody's doing. You know, if somebody's having surgery. I mean, it's just you only live once, so I like just doing it with high quality, do it the right way with people I like, and we have that at Office Pride.
that's awesome. And then what was my last? I'm trying to think about it. But did you have any like advice? Oh, I know what it was before I move on. When does that relationship, that franchisee typically come to you to work? Like what point in their business would they look at joining up with Office Pride?
So most of the folks we have who become Office Pride franchisees have never owned a business before. So they've usually been kind of growing in corporate America. They know they don't want that anymore. But usually they've dreamed of owning their own business, but now they're finally pulling the trigger and making the decision for it to happen. So most of our franchisees, they've never owned a business. Most of them have never been in the cleaning industry, which we like that because they don't bring with them any bad habits. We can teach them the office pride way. And then we do have some who have owned their own business before, and so they bring some good business ownership skills to the table, which is great. And then we will have a few that have been in the commercial cleaning business that just want to be associated with a high quality brand, and they want to leverage our brand and our systems to grow to the next level, even though they may have been doing this all their life. So it's all over the board when they come to us, and we just kind of meet them where they are and begin to teach them our processes and our system, so that once they're out there operating as office pride, everybody's delivering the same quality.
Wow. And then I was going to ask too, what advice do you have for somebody who maybe isn't working with you, but is trying to start their own business? I mean, especially right now, given current, back and forth circumstances and uncertainty.
So somebody who's wanting to start their own business in the cleaning industry
Yeah.
without working with office pride?
Or they haven't got that far in the thought process yet. They just know they want to join the industry and they have the thought that they want to start a cleaning company.
Well, yeah, I would just say just do a lot of research and talk to people who are doing it. But give us a call and we'll guide you through the process for sure. But there's BSCAI is the number one industry trade association in the world for commercial cleaning. So there's a lot of resources there. We always encourage, really everybody who's in the commercial cleaning industry should be a member of BSCAI. And there's a lot of good things going on there too this year.
Yeah, it's not really a winging it type of situation anymore, not with all the resources that are out there with, BSCAI with you and just with, even YouTube sometimes.
Yeah, right. Well, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people wing it, but that's usually not a good business strategy.
So with someone who has joined you recently, what do I want to say? I don't want to say skill sets, but what are the things that franchisees do that help kind of them really hit that growth potential?
Yeah, well, they execute what we teach them. They listen, they ask questions. In other words, they become a franchisee because they want the systems, so they follow the system. So the franchisee who follows the system and is engaged and asks questions and participates in the things that we've got going on as a brand are the ones we usually see growing. They have to bring to the table a real can-do attitude. So really all the folks that come in, they're already high-level people, can-do attitudes because we've screened them, people we think are going to be successful. And so then it's a matter of them executing and following the system. If they execute and follow the system, they'll be fine. If they decide to start trying something a little bit different, then things can get sideways. But we have coaches assigned to each franchisee. And so we really try to create a system of help them be accountable to their own goals, right? They all have franchise vision plan. That becomes a map that they're wanting to follow, and our coach helps them march to that.
Wow, thank you. I was wondering too, what additional things should we know about office pride? As I know I'm coming from the JM side, but what other things should our listeners know about office pride that maybe we haven't touched upon yet?
Well, one thing we haven't talked about that usually comes out a lot is we have a faith-based business model. So we're like the Chick-fil-A of commercial cleaning, right? People know who Chick-fil-A is. They're a lot more famous. We're behind the scenes. We're commercial cleaning, but we want to honor God in all we do. We have a real journey-focused vision to make a difference as we go. And our mission is to honor God by positively impacting people in workplaces. So we want to make the difference in the lives of people, and we certainly want to make a difference with our customers in their workplaces. Give them a place where people like to come and work, and they feel like it's safe and it's clean. And so that's our mission. That's my vision. People are, have bought into it, and we march forward together. So that'd be one thing I'd bring up, Haley, that maybe we haven't talked about. That's important part is this whole idea of culture. And, if you're looking to join any organization, you want to make sure that the culture of the organization is in alignment with what you believe and what you agree to, so that you guys are all on the same page.
That's awesome to know. I know one of the biggest things, just whether you're an employee working in a company or you're joining a new suburb or something like that, or you are joining up and becoming a franchisee with someone like Office Pride, is, like we said before, it's a relationship, and a relationship goes two ways. So I'm glad we touched on that you can bring that up, and it makes me excited too, because I know one of the biggest things that you think about with a company like Chick-fil-A is that customer service and that interaction, and the employee happiness is so high on the list and so high on the priority thing, and it's well executed. And that's kind of what I think of with Office Pride too.
Yeah, and there's a way that franchise systems get measured for happiness. So they call it the FBR, Franchise Business Reviews Franchisee Satisfaction Survey. So they survey franchisees in all different types of systems, and we have fortunately been in the top 50 for over 10 years. And we made the Franchise Business Review Hall of Fame 2 years ago, and this year we hit our highest score ever. Even in with all the COVID, the craziness and all the stuff that's happening. But we found that our level of working together and trust between us and the franchisees grew. The franchisees and their customers grew. Everybody was working together, and as a result, the satisfaction level went up. So like a lot of companies would be trying to help their employee satisfaction go up, we're focused on helping franchisees be successful and wanting them to be happy and satisfied. And then they, in turn, do that with their employees and their customers.
Just as far as Office Pride goes and your reach, I think what I wanted to say with COVID-19 and with just this up and down that we've seen this year, and we're hitting another period where it's hard again, is that we've actually started to see the companies will start to rise above if they're doing it right. They've got the right approach. They've got the priorities in the right places. And so I think that's what we're seeing with Office Pride is you were already on the right track, and now a difficult situation has come along, and you've really been able to kind of hold steadfast and stick with your franchisees and show this is not only why you want to be with us, but this is how much we care, and this is where we've built our good foundation. So
yeah, and that's where trust really matters, because we were already a high trust organization. So immediately, I remember middle of March, we scheduled a town hall, and we had 70 something of the franchisees that were able to join us just on very short notice, because we're all seeing what in the world's happening, and here what is it that we should be aware of or looking to do, or how to respond. And we really everybody came alongside each other, so they knew they weren't in it by themselves. It wasn't just happening to them, and helped each other think and get resourceful to find the personal protective equipment. We had our team working on that here to help people. As you remember, there was so much information coming out from the CDC, you couldn't keep track of it. And so we were digesting that and then sending that out to the franchisees in bite-sized chunks that they could handle, because they were on the front line making this happen. We were sending videos out, and then they were keeping their employees working and being part of the solution, and not just let this happen to them. And so we've seen a lot of wonderful things happen with our franchisees. So I'm really, really proud of them. They stepped up. It was a challenging few months there, but they stepped up, and I think they're all stronger for it. We are.
I was going to say that's what it sounds like, is that you've come out stronger from it. It was one of those trying things, but the trials made you better from it. So,
Yeah, and you find out who your real all-stars are, right? Because you have employees who just rise to the occasion. And we've seen that here at the corporate office, and our franchisees have seen that in their businesses as well. So it's been good from that standpoint. I think people have had an opportunity to rise up and show what they're made of. And a lot of people have done a lot of great things.
it's great to hear. And that was the last question I kind of want to end on from my side, is just going into 2021 as we begin this year. What are your plans? What things do you have coming up for your franchisees and just in general?
Well, we're going to do a lot of virtual education. So we've been putting a lot of good content together. I just finished a full-blown seminar on identifying and overcoming distractions, which I think a lot of people are getting caught up in. And I really love that our franchisees are able to stay focused and make a difference, and to stay on course to achieve their goals, because that's what they want for them and their family. So we have a lot of things like that, a lot of best practice sharing. So I think the key is just a lot of communication, and to let people know that they're not in it alone. We're going to look for some acquisition opportunity and plan to help franchisees do that, so that give them an opportunity to grow through some acquisitions. So I think that'll be something new for us in 2021. We're looking forward to an exciting year.
I was going to say, it sounds like it. I'm excited to see what you accomplish as we go forward. So, all right. Anything else you would like to mention as we wrap up?
Well, I appreciate Janitorial Manager, all you guys have done. Our franchisees are always talking about how you make their lives easier. And, just with the organization of different things, from inventory and timekeeping and all the other services you provide. And your level of support has been good. So when we bring somebody like Janitorial Manager to the table, you guys make us look good, and our franchisees are happy. And so I just like to say thanks to you and Archie and, Jill and everybody for all the support you've provided us and our franchisees. So that would be my final comment.
Well, thank you for that. No, I'm glad we can rise to the occasion on our part too, and just continue to bring, like you said, that higher quality service, because it's something we take pride in. So, all right. Well, I want to thank you, Todd, for joining us for our very first episode of The Business of Cleaning. And we'll also see you again next episode. We'll have a blog post and a transcript. And you can find any contact information for Office Pride right there in our description and in that blog post. And thank you, and have a great rest of your week.